what's going on? It's your boy Taisophon, and I'm coming at you guys with another video. Just want to say thank you guys for the 100 subscribers. I couldn't have reached this milestone without you guys, and I'm very appreciative of everyone who watches my videos and takes the time to like, comment, and share them as well. And here's to 500 subscribers. Recently, we've been getting a lot of news and trailers about new anime fighting games getting ready to drop in the future. Let's talk about the first one that caught my eye, which is the Bleach fighter by Bandai Namco, named Bleach Rebirth of Souls. This one caught my interest mostly because I've been watching a lot of Bleach recently. As a matter of fact, in the anime, I've reached all the way up to the Arrancar versus Shinigami arc, and the series has been pretty good up to this point. It's been data mined that the game's story starts off at the agent of the Shinigami arc up until the Arrancar versus Shinigami arc, which is perfect for me because I'm right around that part in the anime. I think it's nice to see the Bleach anime get its own game on console after like a decade of it hiding in the shadows. From the looks of the trailer, it seems like they're going with the usual arena fighter approach, which isn't surprising at all considering this is usually the route most anime fighters go to. Like for example, games like Demon Slayer, the Hinokami Chronicles, Jujutsu Kaisen, Curse Clash, which I heard was garbage by the way, the Naruto Storm games, J-Star's Victory Versus, Dragon Ball Xenoverse, you know, all these games share that same anime arena fighter format. One thing about me is that I prefer my fighters to be 2D rather than 3D. I'm just gonna be honest, when I play 2D fighters like Street Fighter or Dragon Ball Fighters, I feel right at home. But when I turn on 3D fighters like Tekken 8 or Dragon Ball Xenoverse, that's when things start to get a bit strenuous for me. I took the time to look at the descriptions on the Steam page about this game, and the way they describe it there, it makes it seem like it's going to play out like another arena fighter game. That arena fighter game is the City of Final Fantasy. Love this game, by the way. One of the descriptions says, defeat enemies with a single strike. In Bleach Rebirth of Souls, a single strike can spell defeat for your opponent. This is very similar to how things play out in games like the City of Final Fantasy. In the Cydia, the objective of the game is to build up enough bravery points by attacking your opponent with bravery attacks. You also have HP attacks, which deal actual damage to the health bar if you land it, and the amount of damage that you dish out with those HP attacks is equivalent to the amount of bravery that you rack up over the course of the match. You could rack up so many bravery points that you can KO an opponent in just one blow if you have enough of it, and the game usually lets you know if you're capable of this when your points gain a purplish kind of glow to it. After that, it says, change the situation dramatically with the swing of a blade, which I'm pretty sure means that attacking your opponent probably takes away their ability or limits their conditions to wipe you out completely somehow. Again, that's very similar to how things work in Dissidia. The more you attack your opponent in that game, the more bravery points they lose and the harder it is for them to KO you. When it comes to Bleach Rebirth of Souls, we just don't know what the conditions are to take out your opponent's health. It sounds like a game of who could reach the conditions and be accurate enough to land a finishing blow on the opposition first, in my opinion. At this point, I just want to see more gameplay so I can better understand my objective to eliminate my opponent. Now let's talk about the Hunter x Hunter fighting game. At first glance, I'm not gonna lie, it looks like it could pass for a mobile game. The graphics aren't that great, the outline of the character models could use more sharpness, and the animations of the characters look a little stiff, you feel me, and just very low budget. But the graphics aren't a deal breaker for me though. I have no problem going back and playing older fighting games or older games in general if the gameplay has me in a chokehold. It seems like the game is being developed by Aiding, who are responsible for games like Bloody Roar, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Battle Stadium, and some of my favorite fighting games growing up like Naruto Clash of Ninja 2. And the whole Clash of Ninja series in general. I remember being young and seeing the Aiding logo pop up all the time when you first turn those games on, and I always get this nostalgic feeling when I see that 8ings developing a game, so that's a bonus. The fact that Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is on the list of games they had a hand in, it lets me know that the gameplay mechanics and systems in Nen Impact are going to be immaculate. Even though I was never great at Marvel vs. Capcom 3, watching high-level tournament players duke it out with one another in that game, you could just see the amount of depth and labbing that game takes, which sets it apart from current day fighters. Add in the fact that it's a 2D fighter, which I prefer over 3D fighters. I could see myself giving this game a shot, definitely. I will say, I've never been a fan of 3v3 fighters, considering that you have to master not 1, not 2, but 3 characters at a time. For me, it's a little intimidating. I would be more comfortable with only having to learn 2 characters at a time, similar to games like 2XKO or BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. Also, when it comes to these 3v3 formatted games, there's always that character in your squad who's like a third wheel, and you only use them for their broken ass assist move, and then players naturally try to form a meta around that specific character, and I feel like stuff like that is less likely to happen with 2v2 games. In my experience, you tend to get more of a variety of teams when players are only given 2 characters to choose from. I can already see this happening with Nen Impact, because if you look at the character roster, you could see that it's not big at all. It's actually really small. So chances are you're going to be fighting the same characters over and over for a while if this is the size of the launch roster upon release. Last, we got Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which I think is the game that a majority of you are probably excited about the most. This game is being brought to us by Bandai Namco. It is described as a 3D, high-speed, beam clashing, fast attacking.
The Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, woo, wheeling dealing.
Planet raising, breathtaking fighting game. Fans have been drawing comparisons to games like Budokai Tenkaichi by making statements saying that this game is Budokai Tenkaichi 4. When it comes to the Budokai games, I've never been a fan of the Budokai Tenkaichi series. I've always preferred the Dragon Ball Budokai games without the Tenkaichi name next to it. I think the reason for that is because those games function more like 2D fighters than 3D fighters like Xenoverse, Raging Blast, and now Sparking Zero. I might get some hate for this, but I low-key think that these 3D arena style Dragon Ball games take less skill and are more button mashy. I like doing my anti-airs and playing footsies, and I've always seemed to struggle to establish that in these type of games. I also enjoy learning characters' frame data, meaty setups, and how to play different archetypes of character. I feel like Dragon Ball games like this don't seem to have character archetypes, and you pretty much play most of the characters in the same fashion, which hinders expression in my opinion. They seem to focus more on having fun with your favorite characters than actual competitive play, which in hindsight isn't a bad thing at all, depending on what kind of player you are. Every now and then you'll hear someone say that this game is going to be the next big fighting game over all the other fighters that are out currently. I don't see this being the case. Usually in these Dragon Ball games, the character balancing is atrocious. They give characters like Broly or Super Saiyan God Goku crazy stats, crazy damage output, and can overall abuse the system mechanics in the game better than other characters like Yamcha or Krillin. So if I'm not playing with friends and family, most of my time will be spent in competitive rank modes that offer character balancing tweaks so that one person doesn't have the edge over the other person and the match doesn't feel like I'm fighting against a boss in the story. Oh yeah, don't even get me started on that character roster. There's so much I want to say about how many Goku and how many Vegeta forms there are, but I'm not even gonna waste my time. You know how it is when it comes to these Dragon Ball games. I can't even get mad because I see some of my favorite forms on there like Majin Vegeta and Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Nonetheless, this has got to be one of the best looking, if not the best looking Dragon Ball game to exist. I've watched a lot of gameplay on it here on YouTube, and I could safely say that this is going to be a day one, week one, month one purchase for me. I'm curious to know how you guys are feeling about all three of these fighting games that'll drop soon. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you want to keep up with more of my videos, hit the subscribe button. This has been Taisophon. And I'm out, people. Later.